Welcome to Piper's Petals, your DIY for all things floral. Today I'm going to show you how to make bows, so stay tuned. Alright, so today we're going to focus on making bows. So we use bows and all sorts of things at the shop, from a shoe tie bow to a small bow into an arrangement. Of course, we make bigger bows for wreaths, and of course at Christmas everybody likes to have those big beautiful bows. So I'm going to show you how to make all of those today. There are three basic types of ribbon that you can get at the store. This is called a number 3 ribbon, which is the skinniest of ribbons. Then you have the number 9 ribbon and a number 40, which is a large ribbon. The way that you order these ribbons at a flower shop is through those numbers, number 3, 9, and 40. It's based on French origin of the way that they measure ribbon. But pick one that you like. Usually for bud vases or smaller arrangements, you can use anywhere from the little one to the number 9. And on the number 40s, that's what you use for Christmas time, for staircases and different things like that. So bows are a great thing to learn to do. They're very expensive in the store that are already made. It won't take you a long time to master this. You can sit in front of the TV and learn how to do this. Just watch the video and then just practice, 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 and I know that you'll do great with it. The easiest one that I would suggest that you learn on is a number 9. It takes a little finesse to get the bows going. So number 3 is a little bit hard to pinch, and this is hard to hold in your hands at first until you master the technique of making the bow. So you want to pick a satin bow, or satin ribbon I should say, or you want to pick something that is wired. It is the easiest to work with. It gives you some flexibility in it. Whereas if you pick something that is sheer, kind of like this, it does have a little bit of flexibility in it, but don't pick anything that's velvet. That is one of the hardest ribbons that you can try to work with until you have mastered the technique. To start making these ribbons, you're going to need a few supplies. So what we're going to need, of course, is your ribbons, whichever you decide to use. If you already know how to make a ribbon with the smaller and you're wanting to learn how to make the larger ones, it's basically the same principle, but if not, I suggest, like I said, a number 9 ribbon. And then we're going to need, of course, scissors to cut your ribbons. And you're going to need wire, because that is going to hold your ribbon together. And you're going to need your wire cutters to cut the wire. That's pretty much it, and then we will go on to the pick after we make the ribbon. Okay, so the first bow I'm going to show you how to make is just a simple shoe tie bow. So we use these on bud vases, small arrangements, just a real simple little bow. And this is basically how you master all bows. So I'm going to take my number 9 ribbon and I'm going to pull it out. One really important thing is that you know what side you are on. There are 2 sides to a ribbon. So this is the front side of the ribbon. You can see the glitter in it and the shine in the edging. And this is the back side of the ribbon. It does look a little bit different. You'll notice this with satin ribbon if you use that. So you might want to start with satin ribbon if you've never used it before. Just make sure that you know what the front side is and the underneath side. That way you'll know where you are when you're making your loops. So here's my ribbon, and I want to have a little bit of tails. So a little bit of streamers if you're not sure what tails is. And what you do is you just pull some out, and I think that I'm going to leave my tail like this. So all I'm doing is taking the ribbon and I'm going to make just a little simple loop right here. So you can see how that looks. Just a little tiny loop. Then what I'm going to do is half twist my ribbon. Just like that. So I'm just twisting it in half. So I'm bringing the back part of the ribbon back to the front side. I'm going to pull out that ribbon, and I'm going to bring the back side of that ribbon back into another loop. And then I'm going to half twist again, just a half a twist. And then I'm going to put my finger on all the ribbon underneath. So I'm holding the front with my thumb and the back part with my 2 fingers. And then I am just going to look and see my ribbon like this. Don't take your fingers off. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done that either. And kind of eyeball my tails. Leave it longer to start with until you cut where you want it to be. I'm just kind of showing you this roughly. And there you have basically a shoe tie bow. Then with that, I need to secure it with my wire. I would say if you're starting out doing this, definitely have some pre-cut wire. You don't need a huge piece of it. You're just going to take that wire and you're going to put it right down the middle of your front of the bow. Turn it over and just start pulling the wire together so that it's tight. And that's okay if your bow is still not fluffy at this point. It's going to make its little loops and we can pull it back out afterwards. So basically that's it at this point. Now I'm going to put my little loops down. I'm going to pull my loops out. So that's my little shoe tie bow, and you can pull it a little bit through that wire. Also make sure that your gauge of wire that you use is not very thin. You kind of want a medium gauge wire, so something that is going to hold and not be too flimsy. And make sure that you really go around, kind of like a garbage tie. You just really want to kind of go around and make sure that your bow is secure and that our little loops are equal. And there we have a little shoe tie bow. And then what I like to do is to take the bottom of my bow. You could leave it that way. You can just do a little diagonal and cut across upwards so that you just have a little diagonal on it like that if you want to leave your bow like that. Or you can fold the two edges together of your bow. And then what you're going to do is just cut with your scissors both pieces, and you get a little triangle there, and that's a little bit fancier. And then what you can do with this is you can put it in the arrangements, you can put it in a bud vase, however that you want to use this. This is basically what you do also at Christmas time as well. You can make these little bows and then make the huge bow for the topper of a tree. It's just a great skill to have. So start taking your time and learning how to do this, whether you're in front of a TV program or you got a little extra time at work or some downtime sitting in the park. Just start practicing it. It's just a matter of learning how to do those loops. So there's our shoe tie bow. So now we're going to move on to our next size bow, which we use a lot of times in floral arrangements. It's a bigger number 9 ribbon, and you can use that on vases and in your arrangements and also on packages. Any type of bow that you want to make that's bigger, on wreaths. And then once you learn how to do it here, then you can move on to the bigger size as well. So I've cut a piece of my wire, and I'm going to start again and show you how to do this. So once again, pull out a piece of that ribbon and make a tail as long as you want it to be. So I'm going to say my tail is going to be about here. So you're looking at about 9 inches or so. And I'm going to start with that first loop once again. I'm just simply making one loop, just bringing the ribbon together. And I am pinching it between my thumb and my finger in the back. And I want my loop to be about this size. So we are going to make all loops, try to make them as equal as possible. Pull your ribbon out, make a half twist. This is all there is to this, doing these bows. Make a half twist, so twist in half, and you're bringing that front side of that ribbon again to the front. And then bring the loop back up to you. And hold on with your thumb and bring that back finger underneath and hold on to it. So here we have basically our shoe tie bow, but now we're going to keep going with it. So we're going to once again make another loop, just bringing it to my center. That front side of my ribbon is showing, and just make a half twist. So just half twist it over. Bring that ribbon down, and my front side is still showing, and I'm just going to bring it, make another loop just back to the center. And we're just going to keep going like that. So half twist again. Your thumb is always staying here. Make that half, and move that finger up so you can hold it all in your fingers, and then bring it back again. Wired ribbon's really important for this until you get used to doing these bows, because it really helps to keep the shape of the bow. So I have my fingers on the back, my thumb in the middle. I'm making that half bottom loop and bringing it back. At this point, look at your bow and make sure that the front side is on all sides. If it's not, and you're seeing the back of your ribbon, your loop is not in the correct position. All right, so I'm going to make another one, and I'm going to do a total of 5. Another thing is just keep pulling this ribbon out so you have plenty of ribbon to work with. So once again, I'm making another loop, pulling my fingers, my thumb is staying in place, and making a half twist. All right, and then I'm just taking that ribbon, pulling it straight out, and bringing it back to the middle again. Make another half twist. All right, and let's make one more loop. I'm going to bring it to that middle finger again. Make that half twist again, and then bring that ribbon straight down and bring it back to the middle again. Make one more half twist, and then I'm just going to make my next streamer. Now if you wanted 4 streamers instead of 2, all you got to do is to wind your ribbon around and do just a whole extra loop and then cut. But for now I'm just going to show you how to just do the 2 streamers. So I'm going to cut them the same length again as before, and sometimes your ribbon can be delicate and your scissors may not be as great, so sharp, so you need to get some really sharp scissors to get that edging with some of the ribbons. They're very finicky. So now I'm going to take my piece of wire that I think disappeared on me, so I'll just cut another piece of wire. And once again, I'm holding on with my thumb in the middle, my 2 fingers back here, and I'm going to put that wire right down the middle of that bow. And then I'm going to pinch the wire in the back and start twisting really tight. So we want to make sure that bow stays secure and it doesn't come apart. And then once it's really tight, then we can start adjusting the way that we want our bow to look. So as you can see, it's kind of just all over the place. So I'm now going to take these streamers and I'm going to move them down towards the front, and you're just going to take your finger and gently start pulling the bow apart to the way that you want your loops to look. So some down, some up, some in the middle. Make sure your ribbon is not squanched anywhere. All right. And of course, once you put it in arrangement, whether it's going to be in a vase, on a wreath, wherever it's going to go, once you put it on that, you can also arrange it there as well. And then you want your streamers to be about the same size. So I'm just going to put mine together. And once again, I'm going to make that little angle cut up. And this ribbon's a little difficult, and I don't have the sharpest scissors, unfortunately, but so I'm going to go ahead, make that cut up, and make that cut up. And there we go. We have a beautiful number 9 bow. And I chose this for fall, so this would be great to go on a wreath or in an arrangement. Now, if you are putting this on the wreath, at this point, what you can do, because the wire's on here, is you can always add more wire, make your wire larger however you want, and you would wire it around the wreath. If it's going into a floral arrangement at this point, something that's on a larger scale, or into a vase, what you're going to want to do is to use some kind of pick. You can find these picks at Hobby Lobby or go to a flower shop and buy them. There's different sizes of the pick, so depending on what you're using it in, that's the size that you'd want to buy. I would probably, if I'm making a vase arrangement, I would go with a smaller size like this. A larger would be for a large arrangement. And basically you would just take this wooden pick, put it in the back, and just take your wire and go around that pick and go through the middle and just wire it around that pick. If you absolutely are doing this in a pinch and cannot find any kind of pick, I have used wire pieces from silk arrangements, any kind of little stick that's not going to be shown to get my hands on, and you can just wire around whatever that you're using. And that's basically how you do a bow. It is pretty simple to do. You just have to master it. You got to take some time with it. Do those half twists and don't give up on it. Like I said, start with your number 9 first, and then you can go into the smaller size or the larger size. They're worth learning. They are so expensive in a store. You can get these ribbons at Hobby Lobby half the time. Like Christmas is 50% off. You can get your ribbon at the Dollar Tree, and then you can use them for everything from your arrangements to packages to a package bow, and etc. If you want to get a little more advanced with that, you can also do a little center loop in your bows. You would start the same way. Let me just show you real quick how to do a center loop with one of these. So again, we're going to start with our 1 loop. And I'm just going to make a little tiny loop right here first. And then I'm going to make a larger loop, a half twist, smaller loop, half twist, and then make those loops again. 1, bring it back to myself, half twist, pull out and bring it back to myself again, half twist, and streamer. So you can do this with the shoe tie. That's the way you would do that. Or if you're making the larger loop like we just did, you would just keep adding those loops, bring it back to yourself, half twist, pull your ribbon out, make another loop, half twist, and all the time the key always is to keep your thumb right here in the middle and your 2 fingers on the back until you put that wire in. And that's as easy as it is. It gets a little harder, like I said, when you get to this number 40 ribbon, but they are beautiful when you get to the Christmas time with the staircases. You can do your tree toppers with this. Also, you can take your different size ribbons and put them together. So we could make a smaller one and then insert the bigger number 40 ribbon behind it and get very decorative. But we'll get more into that later. I just wanted to show you how to make a basic bow. All right, so practice on these bows. I know you'll get good at them. Remember just to do those half twists and you will make beautiful bows and save yourself a fortune. Join us again on Piper's Petals. If you like this video, please subscribe to us. We're a new channel and we want to keep bringing great content to you. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.